In the last hour, at the end of the last hour, we talk about this term, right? Digital transformation, right? What is digital transformation? Anyone want to give a definition? What do we mean by digital transformation? A lot of company, right? Smaller company, large company, even the government, right? Want to do digital transformation, right? Anyone want to do some
We go
comment?
from before everything was on paper and now we try to get everything digitalized.
Maybe you want to use a.
Before everything was on paper and on the books and stuff, now we want to transform everything to the online world and digitalize all the information we have available.
Right. See, the society is already digitalized, right? Isn't it, right? Uh, in the old days, like, not very old, right? Like in the 1990s, okay, we don't even have a personal computer yet, okay? In the 1990s, right? The year that I graduate from college, the actually 20 years ago we don't really have a personal computer yet. Not to mention notebook computer, not to mention mobile phone. Okay. So, but in the advance of technology, right now everyone has a personal computer, right? So everyone has a notebook, right? So almost all of the business information is not keeping on books. All of the information are keeping on are digitalized and keeping in the computer, right? So the society is digitized. So the company also need to do some digital transformation, right? You want to like reorganize your business so that it can take advantage of this digital infrastructure, right? In the human society, right? We can say that this this digital infrastructure is the most important advancement in human society for the past 2 decades, 3 decades, right? So that after this transformation, we want to transform our company, but some of the traditional company, they are still a lot of the company, they are still operate they are still managed, still operate in a traditional way, right? Okay. See, the technology is going faster, right? But the organization, the transformation of organization is actually very slow. Okay. The organization of the government, the organization of the company, it will take a long time to cope with this new digital environment, right? And that process, right? How can you speed up the process to transform your company so that you can take advantage and you can win the competition in this digital society, right? That process is called digital transformation. Okay. So you want to do digital transformation, which kind of talent do you need? Do you need a data scientist? Or do you need a manager with data science capability? Okay.
Manager with data science.
Right. Why do you say that?
Because there has to be someone to guide, and a manager is someone who guides.
Right. It's actually the transformation must be led by manager, right? A scientist or an engineer cannot help you do that. They may have a very good like technical capability, right? But the transformation is about organization. It's about business management, right? So you need to have manager to do that, right? So actually the key talents in digital transformation is not data scientist, right? It's the manager with data science capability, right? And that is exactly what we want to teach in this course. Okay? So we will not focus on this side. We'll try to focus on this side. Okay? Okay. So let me do a do some more elaboration about data analysis versus business logic. Okay. I mean, data analysis is one thing, business logic is the other, and we want to combine it together, right, to do business analytics. Okay. So, see, if you have some data, right? Now, usually we would use data to build model, right? And you model to do prediction, okay? And most of the course offered in the MIS department will stop there, okay? They will teach you how to clean your data, like explore your data, do model and do prediction, and then stop, okay? But actually, in business analytics, after prediction, business analytics is just started. Okay, you have a lot to do after you do the prediction. Okay, if I can predict for example, if I can predict for every customer, I can predict their repurchase probability. Okay, which means that customer one, they have their probability of repurchase in the next month is like 0.2, and customer 2 is 0.3, right? So I do a model so I can predict the repurchase probability of each of my customer. Okay, that is good. Okay, but that will not change anything, right? After I predict the probability, right? So I know the situation, but I need to do something, right? Right? So you need to you might decide to do some promotion, right? You might decide to do in order to kind of like raise the repurchase probability, right? So only the prediction cannot help you to design and choose your campaign, right? Prediction is just to let you have a predicting capability, and that is not enough for business, right? So what can you do? Now you need to design some like kind of like marketing campaign, right? Okay, so you can design campaign 1, campaign 2, right? Now and you need to decide which campaign you want to go with, isn't it? Right? So only the prediction cannot help you do that. You basically need to do some assumption, right? Okay? So based on the prediction, based on the assumption, and based on the marketing campaign that you design, right? You can do some simulation, right? So after simulation, you will have some expected outcome, right? Which means that based on the prediction, based on the assumption, right? You can predict the outcome of every solution. So as long as you can predict the expected outcome of each of the alternative, you can do optimization, right? You can choose the alternative with the best expected outcome, right? So that is business analytics, okay? So we will not stop here, okay? I will actually, I will teach you how to use a tool, how to use package in R to do modeling very easy, right? As long as you have data, you just write a line of code, you already make the model already, okay? So making model is easy in this course, okay? How to use model, right? Combine the prediction of the model with the business assumption, okay? Come with your domain knowledge, and then simulate the situation and to do the optimized strategy. That is business analytics. Okay. So as I say here, right? So business actually in business you always need to make decision in uncertainty, right? That's the difficulty of business, right? The difference between business and engineering, I think the biggest difference between engineering and business is that in business you are facing a lot of uncertainty, right? You need to the competitive the consumer behavior, right? The competitors the strategy, and also the macroeconomic situation, right? There are a lot of uncertainty in business, and you run into from time to time you need to make decision in an uncertain situation, right? And that's why we need this process, okay? Because you face uncertainty, so you are using data to do model, so you can do some prediction, okay? But the prediction is not enough, right? You need to like you cannot model everything, right? So besides the prediction, you need to like use your domain knowledge, right? So you can simulate the situation and try to evaluate each of your alternative strategy, right? Thereof you can make the optimized decision, right? So business is all about making decision in uncertainty, right? And what we mean by analysis, business analytics, is we want to evaluate uncertainty and estimate outcome, right? Okay, so if we have data and we do the analysis, after we can evaluate uncertainty, we can estimate outcome, then we can make the good decision, isn't it? Right? Okay. So model and prediction is not our purpose in the course of business analytics. It was just a tool, right? It was just a step of the BA process. Okay, and in this course, I will try to like guide you, lead you through the entire process, and let you have a holistic, systematic, complete view of BA, right? Instead of just doing programming. Okay. Let's skip this one. Okay, so now as I say that this is another this slide is kind of summarize the process of business analytics. Okay, I mean this slide with this slide I try to summarize the entire process of business analytics. Okay. Now, of course, everything starts from data, right? Okay. So nowadays in the R environment, we have a set of tools already in R environment. We already have a set of tools already existing there, right? The tool can help you do exploration, do analysis, do prediction, do simulation, do optimization. We already have some tool inside the R environment. Okay, so so in the R environment, doing business analytics is just like it's just like you put all of this tool in an assembly line, right? You try to put data in front of the assembly line, right? And use this existing package, right, as each station of the assembly line. Okay, so you use this tool to process the data step by step. Okay, but at the end of the tool is only help you to estimate, to evaluate uncertainty, to estimate outcome, right? In order to make decision, you need to like incorporate your domain knowledge, be that strategic management, marketing, finance, accounting, HR, operation, service, whatsoever, right? Okay. With this mathematical estimation, you need to add in your domain knowledge, okay, so that you can do planning and presentation, okay, do planning and communication, okay. As a business analyst, actually, if you went through this entire process, okay, so if you are a manager, right, if you are an engineer, what you do is like you do to here and stop, okay. If you are a manager, you want to use the result, right, at the end of this assembly line, and add in your business knowledge to do planning and to do presentation, to do decision, right? That's what we mean by BA, okay? And that's what we want to teach you in this course, okay? Question about BA? So what is BA? Anyone want to like give a definition of what is business analytics? Yeah.
Using data to drive business decisions.
Right. The answer is good. It's very good because it precisely state the input and the output, right? BA is a process, okay? So being the process is as the input and as the output, right? The input is data, the output is decision, okay? And along the process, you will use a lot of different data processing techniques. And fortunately, all of these techniques has already been encapsulated in some package, right? So in this course, I'm not going to teach you the algorithm within the package, okay? I would teach you how to use this high-level tool to do the analysis and brand in your business domain knowledge to do good business decision, okay? Now, as we can see here, right, there are a lot of tools, right? There are a lot of tools. In this course, we will basically use 4 types of tools, okay? The first type of tool is called clustering, okay? For example, you want to separate your customer base into different segments, right? That's called clustering, okay? You do it group by group, right? And the other thing is called dimension reduction, okay? We will go to that topic later on, okay? And there are 2 things for and there are 2 more functions. One is called classify, which means that you want to predict a categorical outcome. Okay? Categorical outcome is the outcome like when the customer come in, it can buy product A, it can buy product B, and buy product C, or it can buy nothing, right? This is called categorical outcome, right? So if I want to predict a categorical outcome, it's called classification. Okay, don't worry about this jargon yet. Okay, so one thing is to evaluate categorical outcome. The other thing is to evaluate numeric outcome, right? For example, if I want to predict the next week's the demand, right? I want to predict next week this customer will buy how many amount of my product, right? That's evaluate a numeric value, right? Okay, so that we call evaluation. Okay, so basically there are hundreds, thousands of existing tools here, and in from the business perspective, basically, we are doing 4 different functions, and don't worry too much about that yet. I will like go into detail in the when the course progress. Okay, and all of this function, actually in the R environment, they are already encapsulated in packages. Okay, so it's something like, so doing BA in R is like playing wizard in the online game. Okay, let me say it again. Doing BA in R is very much like playing a wizard in an online game. Okay, you can treat actually. I told you that all of this functionality, right? They are like summon creatures, right? You can summon the creatures to do things for you, right? Okay, and different creatures has different functionality, isn't it? Right. So all you need to know is the spell, right? you cast the spell, and then actually there's a you can summon some kind of like creature to do the function for you, right? The thing like exploration, analysis, prediction, situation optimization, there are many kinds of exploration tool. There are many kinds of analysis tool, right? And each of the tool is in the R environment. Is basically like in the R environment is kind of like a summon creature, right? So in this course, I'm not going to teach you a very very high level creatures, right? The creatures like the dragons, right? that this type of tool would use something like AI, like machine learning, like, right? That type of big data computation, right? I'm not going to touch it yet, okay? Because so far you know, in the online game, the wizard they have grade, right? Okay, so you are actually just a low grade wizard, okay? So you only can cast some basic spell, right? Okay, but don't forget that all of this basic spell, they already cover this basic spells already cover all of this necessary functionality inside VA, right? Okay, so so in this class, the design of this class is something like in the R environment, I would like to use this R to hide the complexity of algorithm, to hide the complexity of mathematics. Okay, so you can do each step, each of this data analysis step easily, right? And what you want to do is to combine this step to do the BA, to do the business decision. And that is the design of this course, okay? So we are going to teach you some basic, like skeleton type of creatures, okay? But don't, but actually I will teach you different kind of skeleton, right? So they can perform each of this BA process, right? So you can do the entire BA process together, right? So you might have a question, right? If this skeleton can already do all of the functionality in BA, why do we need the dragon? Anyone? if we can like do a BA process with this simple skeleton, right? They are enough. Trust me, they are enough. But Then why should we need big data like or like uh, machine learning and artificial intelligence? Why? Yeah.
Because the small skeletons, the small ones, we only need to understand it so we can make decisions based on it. But the big data are so huge, you cannot use skeletons anymore. You need
Yes, that is one of the reasons. Sometimes the data is so big, right? It's so big that this skeleton just cannot handle it, right? Then you will need the big data computation, right? Okay, and sometimes the data is so complicated, right? Now, for example, you have a data table that with 1,000 variable, right? So the skeleton may be good for like 20 variables, okay? In the traditional customer profile, you only have 20 field, right? So the skeleton is good enough, right? But in today's customer profile, you can maybe for each customer you can have 100 variable, maybe 1,000 variable. In that type of situation, you will need machine learning skill because that cannot be handled by simple skeleton type of tool, right? Now for AI is another thing, right? Sometimes the data is not tabular format. Sometimes the data is text. Sometimes the data is even picture or voice, right? For example, if you are human resource, and what you have today is not only the questionnaire that the candidate fill in, but also a voice recording, right? You might want the so that type of voice, picture, text, right? If you're doing marketing, you might actually collect some review data from the social media, right? You go to the social media and try to use crawler to collect the review data of your brand, right? But this review data, they are not in a table format, right? They are text, right? Each review is actually an article, right? What do you want to do with that? You will need the AI technology to help you do that, right? Okay, so we will need that, and actually, if you go to the course website, you will see that in the web page there is a curriculum, right? So you click the curriculum. You will see that actually we are besides this course we actually have 3 layers of courses that the course that we are doing now is at this layer, right? Okay, so the first stage, we only teach you some BA, what is BA, and how to use a simple package to do BA, right? And in the second stage, there will be course. If you want to learn machine learning and you want to learn artificial intelligence, we have some course to help you do that. And we also have a capstone type of course that we actually connect our student with the local company, right? The local company will offer their data. They'll bring in their data and they'll bring in their the thing that they want to do with the data, right? So, and in a semester, we actually in a cooperating fashion, we cooperate the school with the local company and do the business project together, right? So this is the 3-stage program, but unfortunately, so far only the first stage is have a full English course. The rest of course is still in Chinese up to this point of time. They are planning to like try to globalize these things, but we do not have the fixed schedule when they will be available yet, right? So the design of the curriculum is like in the first semester we try to teach you BA, and what we want to teach you doing BA with basic tool, okay? But let's say I want to go back to this slide. I think don't underestimate the capability of this skeleton type of tool, okay? With this tool, you can actually process the business data for most of the company in Taiwan, right? For example, if you have if you are a company in Taiwan, how many customers can you have? Maybe you have like 2 million customers, right? So 2 million, a data set with 2 million record and like 100 variable, well, can be handled with this type of tool without problem, right? The accuracy might be a little lower than the dragons, okay? I mean, when you apply this like skeleton type of basic tool in your BA, right? When we are talking about a company like 1 million customer, and then you have the 1 million, and then you have 100 variable, right? In the scale like that, the tool in this label, the accuracy generated in this tool is not much difference than tool generated with this one, okay? I would say that for accuracy, right? If you are using this one, you might have 85% accuracy, and if you using this tool, you have like 82% accuracy. Usually, in my experience, most of the case, the difference is like a few percent. But if you do not do the analysis, you just guess it, right? You guess, then the probability is down to like 50%, right? So the point is to do the analysis. You will pull up your prediction, the accuracy of your prediction from like 50% to 82%. Okay. Now in this step, it's good, right? If you are in a very competitive environment, you want to compete with the first class, world class company like Google, right? You need to use this tool, right? Because at that label, every percentage of accuracy is very important. But for most of the SMB company, for most of the local company, actually this tool is good enough for you. Okay. Mm?
So when a big company like Amazon or Apple or Google, when they analyze data, what programming language do they use?
Well, I think mostly they will use like Python, or because in that type of company, when the scale is very large, you will kind of you would like to use engineering language rather than just R, and that's the next thing that I want to address, right? R versus Python, right? Okay. R is not a programming language by itself. Okay. Actually, people often ask me, how long have I used R? I will tell them that 30 years, 30. Okay, because this language is actually invented by Bell Lab, AT&T, right? It's the Bell Laboratory, AT&T. I told you that I worked for AT&T for more than 30 years, right? Okay, so in the beginning, we are not position R as a programming language. At that time, it was like the 1985, 1988, kind of like that. We don't have PC, right? We have mainframe computer, okay? And at that time, the most popular programming language is the C language, right? You might have heard that, the C language. The reason that we want to invent R is, in the lab environment, from time to time, we need to do some simple data processing, right? The processing is not very complicated, but if we want to write a C program to do that, we need to use editor to write a C program. We use compiler to compile the program. And usually the first time you will have some bug. You need to use debugger to debug the program, and then you finish the program and then apply the program to the data, right? The process is so clumsy, right? Okay. So we kind of we want to invent some tool, right, to help us do a simple data processing, right? So in the beginning, when we have this R language, we are not positioning it as a programming language. We are position R as a tool, right, to help us do data processing, right? That is the beginning of R. And up to today, R is not by itself an official programming language. It is kind of like, as I will tell you later, it is actually an interactive data object computation environment. Okay, as I will told you later, R is actually an interactive data object computation environment. Okay, so it is not a formal computation language. So compared to the Python, right? It has the pro and con, right? The advantage is it's easier to learn, right? Especially for the non-technical people, right? It's easier to learn. It does not mean that it is not powerful, okay? Because in R we have a lot of packages. The number of available packages increasing, right? Months after months after months, right? Okay. So with the help of this package, it can do a lot of very complicated things, okay, in this R environment. But when you do it in the R environment, the speed of computation is slow, right? Because it is not a formal engineering language, right? So if you have the data like in Google, right? The Google has the data of like tens or hundreds of billions of records, right? You want to do data in that scale, then you would prefer to do engineering language, kind of like Python, right? Okay, so I can say that to choose between Python and R depends on you are doing engineering or not engineering. If you are doing engineering task, for example, you are doing like automatic driving, right? You are doing like launching a missile, right? You are doing moon landing, right? Okay. You are doing a very precise face recognition, right? That type of things tend to be like engineering type of things. Then you need to use Python is better, right? Okay. Now for the rest of the thing, if you are like doing medical research, if you are doing business research, I would say that R is a better choice than Python, right? So if you look to if you go to the online learning platforms such as Coursera or EDX, you will find that most of the BA courses are offered in R language. Okay. And not only BA, if you look to the most of the social science research, if you look into the medical research, right? As long as we are not talking about engineering, then using R is actually easier to get started. Okay. That is the difference between R and Python. Okay. Yeah.
So for the companies that, like you said, smaller or medium-sized companies which have like 2 million to around that area, customers that count up to 2 million, do we still use R or do we switch to Python when the number increases?
Well, like 2 million is actually a lot already, right? So at that stage, you just start considering using tool like Python, right? But I would say that as I told you that we already have some cooperation experience with local companies, right? Okay. Most of this company they only have like hundreds of thousands of customers, right? Most of the company, right? So in that scale, using R is perfectly fine, okay? But if you go to the million label, then you might also want to consider using Python, okay? But one way or the other, right? One way or the other, the programming language is just a tool, right? Okay? So if you want to learn algorithm, right, then using Python is better, right? If you want to learn the detailed mathematics and programming algorithm, using Python is easier and better, okay? For R, it's actually high level access, easier access. It's easy to get started. That is its advantage. And that is what we want to do in this course. And actually in the business school, we decided to go with R because we know that for the non-technical background students, right? Now using R is actually a lot easier to get started. And an even more important reason that we use R is because that if you use Python, it tend to like focus too much on the low level algorithm, right? Then you will lose the whole picture, right? You will not have the holistic view of the BA process, as we just mentioned, right? That's the difference. Any more question?
Professor,
Yes.
I already talked to my friends before taking this course, and I would like to ask you a question. Is it true that after we learn one language, for example, like after this course I learn R language, it would be much easier for me to learn another?
Right, exactly. Yeah, because the programming language is after you learn the first one, right? Learning the second programming language is a lot easier. Because what's important is not the language syntax, right? What's important is the data processing logic that you want to learn, right? So, like, you are saying English, you are saying French, you are saying Chinese, right? But as long as you are saying the same thing, right? The language, the syntactic type of things is actually usually it is easier, a lot easier, right? So that's true. Okay, after you learning R, it's a lot easier to learn Python. Okay, last thing before we take the break. See, not only one of the reasons that we are using R is because it has a lot of packages, right? As this slide just show you. Last year when we do the course, we saw they are 17,400 packages, right? So actually in the R environment, you can see. So the number of packages already increased to like 18, 18,495. Okay, if you check the number, you will see that it increased like week by week. Okay, yes. So you learn the language. The thing that you can do with the language increase by time, right? It's a very good thing, right? Okay. Not only that you will have new package, the old package will also upgrade with the new capability. Okay. So you are learning R. You will always keep yourself up to the front up to the front of the technology. Okay. Yeah.
Professor, what are R packages?
Sorry.
What is an R package?
Actually, we'll go to that later. Okay. So R package is kind of like, as I told you, that you can do a lot of things in R, right? But for example, you can have R package to download the questionnaire from Google Sheet, right? Download, so you have another package to download Twitter data. You have a package to interface with your Facebook account, that type of thing, right? So you have like so many functionality. So you cannot put every functionality, you cannot load everything into your computer, right? Okay, you only want to select the functionality that you want to use, right? And that functionality is called package. Okay, R has a basic syntax. Okay, with itself, it is like a calculator. We'll cover that in the next hour. Okay, but if you want to use it to like do some, for example, connect to internet, and like we are doing here, right? Okay. This is the URL for the. This one is the URL for the for your question now, okay? And then with as long as I know its URL, right? I can call. There is a package called Google Sheet 4, right? And within this Google Sheet 4, there is a function to download the data, okay, given URL, right? So within this Google Sheet 4, there's a function called resheet, okay? So I just give it this URL and read the data into queue. And so this, if I do not want to download data from Google Sheet, I don't need to load the package, right? So it will keep the basic R like more smaller and easier to manipulate, right? So package is the thing that it's the set of functionality, right? Already encapsulated in the package. When you want to use the functionality, you kind of like load the package into your environment, then you can use it. Thing like this, okay? So with that package, it will help you to like. It actually will link your computer into the cloud, as we just demonstrated, right? Okay, whatever available in the cloud, right? You can use the crawler to crawl the Amazon data. You can use right a package to crawl the Twitter, right? In our previous example, whatever you keep in the Google Drive, you can read the data directly from the cloud, right? So it's not only that we have a lot of data processing package locally, it also has a lot of package to help us connect to the cloud, right? So so that's why we want to use R, right? In short, we want to connect from NSYSU to the cloud, right? Okay, we want to connect to the future. We want to connect to the humanity, right? So that is basically why we choose R to get started. Okay, okay. It's 11:02. Let's take a 10 minutes break. It's back in 11:10. Okay.